Hey guys, I'm going to start uploading some videos onto the website of a daily read aloud that I do with you because I miss reading with you. So I've picked a chapter book that I found on Epic, and you can even search for it yourself. It's a series of 6 books. So if we really like the first one, we can continue reading with more of them. But this book is called Sword Girl, and book number 1 is called The Secret of the Sword. And the little blurb that tells you like a little summary of what the book is about says that when Tommy is made keeper of the blades, it seems her dream of being a knight might come true until a valuable sword is stolen. So this is written by Frances Watts, and it's illustrated by Gregory Rogers. And if we come up with a picture, I'll show it to you, of course. But chapter 1, and so it's just chapters, they don't have names. So this is chapter 1, and we'll just see how long the chapters are, and I might read 1 or 2 and post it each time. But this is just for fun because I miss reading with you guys. So chapter 1. Thomasina? Tommy ignored the voice calling her. Go, Sir Benedict, she whispered. Thomasina! Tommy knew it would be Mrs. Moon, the cook, angry because she wasn't standing at the long table peeling mountains of potatoes with the other kitchen girls. Instead, Tommy was standing at the kitchen doorway watching the knights practicing in the great courtyard. Clank, clank, the courtyard rang with the sound of sword against armor. Sir Benedict, the other knight, Sir Hugh were teaching the squires how to fight. Now I thrust, Sir Benedict called. He lunged forward with his sword. So if you see here, let me see if I can make it so you can see it. It's a little bit. There you go. She's watching the knights. Sir Hugh then drove his sword at Sir Benedict. Now I parry, Sir Benedict explained as he blocked the blow with his own sword. The squires, who were boys training to be knights, copied Sir Benedict's moves with their wooden practice swords, and so did Tommy, with the small paring knife she was meant to be using on the potatoes. Hooray! Tommy cheered softly as Sir Benedict, Flamett Castle's bravest knight, raised his sword to signal the end of practice. The sun glinted off the steel blade, and for a moment Tommy imagined she was the only one holding her sword aloft. That she was the castle's most daring knight, its most skilled sword fighter. Ouch! Tommy cried as a hand grasped her ear and twisted it hard. So there you are, Thomasina, Mrs. Moon scolded. I should have known you'd be watching the knights again. You're meant to be peeling potatoes, not dreaming in doorways. Sorry, Mrs. Moon, Tommy murmured. She turned to follow the cook back into the gloomy kitchen with its smoke-blackened stone walls. But Mrs. Moon blocked her way. Not so fast, girl. I've got another job for you. Since you clearly prefer the courtyard to the kitchen, you can sweep it. She thrust a broom at Tommy. Tommy gaped at the cook in astonishment. Sweep the whole courtyard? But the courtyard is huge. It will take me forever. Well, you'd best get started then, Mrs. Moon said. With a sigh, Tommy took the broom. As the knights led the squires away, she trudged across the flagstones to the far end of the courtyard. The castle walls and the towers reared high above her, and she could see the guards keeping lookout from the battlements. I bet those guards don't care whether the courtyard is dusty, Tommy grumbled to herself as she began to sweep, and I bet the knights don't either. They're worried about more important things, like keeping Sir Walter's castle and lands safe. Flamett Castle belonged to Sir Walter the Bald and his wife Lady Beatrix the Bored. Tommy was so busy grumbling she didn't notice what was going on nearby until she heard an indignant yowl. Looking up, she saw a stocky boy with bright red hair. Tommy had seen him before, though she'd never spoken to him. He was one of the boys who worked in the armory, where all the weapons and armor were repaired and stored. Don't know what he's got to yowl about, Tommy muttered. He gets to spend all day with the swords and bows while I'm scrubbing pots in the scullery and chopping vegetables in the kitchen. Her thoughts were interrupted by another yowl and then a low hiss. There's another picture. See if I can make it show up. There we go. Tommy pushed her mop of hair out of her eyes and looked at the boy again. This time she noticed he was holding one of the wooden practice swords. He was jabbing the tip of the sword at a black and white cat he'd trapped in a corner, and it was the cat who was yowling. "Hey," Tommy called, "you leave that cat alone." The red-haired boy turned around. "Who's gonna make me?" he sneered. "You." He jabbed the cat again. This time the cat meowed pitifully, and Tommy, who loved animals, ran towards them. "Stop," she cried. "You're hurting it." The boy spun around and pointed the sword at Tommy. "Who are you?" he demanded. I'm Tommy. I work in the kitchen." "A kitchen girl," the boy said. He laughed. "Well, I don't take orders from kitchen girls. I'm the keeper of the bows. I'm in charge of all the castle's crossbows and longbows. What are you in charge of?" His gaze fell on the broom Tommy was holding in one hand. "Ha ha, I know. You're the keeper of the brooms." He snorted with laughter at his own joke, and then he said, "Go away, kitchen girl. I'm practicing my sword fighting." He turned and lunged toward the cat, and Tommy sprang forward with her free hand and grabbed the hem of his tunic. With an angry shout, the boy pushed Tommy away roughly. Would you rather I practice on you?" he said. "At least it would be a fair fight," Tommy snapped. "A fair fight?" scoffed the boy. "How dare you presume to be my equal? Get lost, kitchen girl." And then he lifted his sword above his head and spun on his heel. As the wooden blade tore through the air toward the cat cowering against the stones, Tommy leapt forward, flinging herself between the boy and the cat. She halted the sword's arc with the broomstick. "I warn you," he snarled before swinging his arm back and driving his blade straight at Tommy. Okay. That's the end of chapter 1. So we'll stop there. Tommy's pretty brave to be standing between a cat and a wooden sword, because even though it's wooden, it would probably still hurt pretty bad. I wonder what's going to happen in the next chapter. Maybe you can make a prediction and write it in to remind or to show me and tell me what you think is going to happen next. But I'll try to make another video for tomorrow. Bye, guys.